so happy we alive.
Good evening. Welcome to Louisville Late Night. This evening we are back in lovely Hilo, Hawaii, which is not only a center of great culture and beauty, but also a center of a revolution of sorts, an herbal revolution, and one that's being led quite valiantly by Reverend Roger Christie. And Roger's been on Louisville Late Night with us before, and last time he was telling us about his escapades with the federal helicopters and their awful annoyance to the island farmers out here, and they were able to make some progress with those guys and let them give the farmers a break. But in the meantime, Roger's been up to many different activities on all of our behalfs. One of them, he was just recently running for office here in the Big Island. I'm going to switch down to a little picture from the paper right here. This is the Tribune Herald. Is that right, Roger?
Hawaii Tribune Herald.
And that's the is that of the Big Island or the?
Yes, that's the biggest newspaper on the Big Island.
And here we see Roger's picture right here, right on the front page. Boy, that's a big picture, Roger.
That was the biggest portrait I've ever seen since I've lived here 20 years. Happened to be me.
Okay. Marijuana is not causing many of the island's problems, but it could solve them, according to Hawaii County mayoral candidate Roger Christie. Well, Roger, welcome to Louisville Late Night again. It's really a joy to be here with you, to say the least. And bring us up to date a little bit. What's been going on?
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it. Hey, Louisville, aloha to you, to everybody there. Yeah, life has been good this year. It's been a year of positivity for the Hawaii Cannabis Ministry and the cause of liberating cannabis for all its many blessings and its many good uses for food, clothing, shelter, medicine, fuel, sacrament, fun, and so much more.
Now you were running for mayor. What happened there?
I ran against a very strong incumbent. I had a great time. The incumbent won re-election to office. I just went to his inauguration 2 days ago and shook his hand and congratulated him.
But you had a good turnout, right?
I had a decent turnout for the shoestring campaign that I had. It went very well. I showed up for all the forums around the island and spoke out with my unvarnished truth about ending prohibition and liberating cannabis for all its beautiful uses. There were two major studies that I had come across which really convinced me to run. One, I found the federal study from the National Institute on Drug Abuse, which pointed out that Hawaii, which has the highest rate per capita of methamphetamine use in the nation, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've heard that's a big problem out here.
Crystal methamphetamine. The study came out in the 1990s that said that it concluded that marijuana eradication program on the Big Island caused the conditions for poverty and hard drug abuse in the state. And I know that to be true, but here was a federal study that was a landmark of its kind. And it proved the point. And then interestingly enough, after the study came out to prove the point that the government was causing the methamphetamine epidemic, the National Institute on Drug Abuse erased the study from their website.
No kidding.
So very intellectually dishonest, to say the least. And showing once again that we're facing a prejudice. The prohibition of cannabis is not a logic, it's not a reason, it's a prejudice, and it's deep-seated. And here's another glaring example.
So there's a federal study, endorsed study, that shows conclusively that marijuana is much preferable, or the prohibition of marijuana accentuated the ice epidemic,
yes,
correct?
Yes.
And then after the study comes out, they erase the study?
Yes. You can't find it anywhere on the NIDA website.
It sounds like we're going back to the Nixon era.
Yeah, it's bad behavior, and it's leading to much trouble, to death and destruction and hard drug abuse and much pain and suffering here in Hawaii. People see the brochures of palm trees and hula girls, and that's a very small part of what's going on here. But there's a culture, a great degree. The culture here is in pain and in poverty and hard drug abuse. I'm sorry to report today.
Don't you think that would be true back on the mainland also?
It is. For any jurisdiction that has a marijuana eradication program, which is virtually everywhere in the USA, wherever there's a marijuana eradication program, there are what's called unintended consequences. Taxpayers are paying for that marijuana eradication program and not knowing what all they receive from it. Because as far as I can tell, there is not one in the whole country, there's not one program review that is an audit. It's a high power audit that looks at what we purchased with our tax money. Certainly they spent money on undercover officers and helicopters and dogs and all kinds of things. But did they get unintended consequences such as poverty and methamphetamine abuse? I say yes, that they did, and we did. Here on the Big Island, it's easier for me to measure because I'm here and I pay attention to this. But my claim is that on the mainland, in every jurisdiction, in Louisville, wherever you're watching this program, that it's likely that your jurisdiction is suffering poverty and hard drug abuse because of the lack of cannabis in the culture. So, my contention is that the police, the law enforcement here, lawmakers and law enforcers, have actually caused more crime than they solved.
Oh, wow.
You cut that off for a second? Yeah, my point, Patrick, and to everybody watching this, is that marijuana prohibition causes a host of troubles in every community where it's presented and where it's performed. Now, it's been ongoing since the Nixon administration, really, which recreated the war on drugs and the war on cannabis in the early 1970s. And if someone were to do, which responsible governments and responsible citizens really must do, to check and balance the power and the weight of their governments. Take a look. I will bet that in Louisville and as every jurisdiction in the United States, there is not one audit or program review which shows the unintended consequences of the marijuana eradication program. Here, the consequences are devastating and they're tragic and they're ongoing, and that's why I'm an activist, and I have sued the county here 5 times. I've won twice, and I look forward to my next lawsuit to shut this damn program down forever.
Whoa.
Shut it down forever. I want to drive a stake through its nasty heart and nail it to the wall forever and put it in the dustbin of history. And
do you feel like you're making any progress?
Yes. And that's one of the levels of, or ways to measure the progress, is with the ministry. The Hawaii Cannabis Ministry, which I founded over 4 years ago, is really getting traction now. And we've had much success. The idea is to create a religious defense to prosecution for myself and for everyone that use cannabis religiously.
And this is even for people back in Louisville, Kentucky.
Absolutely.
People in Louisville can contact you through the thc-ministry.org.
That's correct. You can call me at 808-961-0488. Got your pen ready? 808-961-0488. Or look me up on the web, thc-ministry.org.
And people can join the ministry online.
Join the ministry online. It's very simple. You know, we all have rights and powers granted to us from the creator of all things, from the great you name it. And I call it a divine inheritance from God, from nature, from all that is. And everybody knows out there, you know out there, I know, Patrick, we all know that God put cannabis on this planet and put us